Well, there's a first for everything, right? All these years doing this show, I start the rundown. I say, the S&P futures. No, no, no. Major outage, one of the longest outages in the history of the CME. We're going to talk about, are you affected? Is it affecting your trade? Well, if you're short futures, you better be buying some spies. We're going to talk about this retail rally continues. Bitcoin perking up. Going to talk to Louis Sykes, homie charts. He's working on something new and something very interesting. Folks, it's Black Friday. We're rallying. Let's get the show started.
The volatility right now is really incredible.
Wow, look at that consolidation on the upper right chart.
You know what we've seen this earnings season? Some of these expected moves get even more violent. This is why I have switched my strategy 10 years ago. And if you're chasing, you're in trouble.
Okay, folks. Yes, you're seeing it live. The Spider, SPY, traded up $2.49. We are trading above Friday's high. So there you go. Can't look at the dollar index, but I can look at the TLT. TLT trading down 18 cents. GLD, that's up just a tad, $1.13 at 384 and a quarter. SLV participating in the rally, up nearly 1% at 49 even. And I don't have Bitcoin futures, but we can look at IBIT and take a look at that ETF and see how that's trading today. Wow, I didn't even type that in very much. Well, that's trading up 85 cents. All right. Good morning. And these charts are brought to you by TradeStation, a proud sponsor of our show. We're going to be learning a lot more about TradeStation charts here in December and into 2026. We're going to bring someone onto the show right now that's not affected by the futures being out.
No, I truthfully didn't even know they were out. I've been trading all morning. And I had a message from a reporter and asked me about the futures outage. I was like, futures out? I text Joel, futures out? He's like, yeah. I'm like, because I just used SPY for years. They started trying to charge me so much for my CME quotes. And I was like, you know what? With SPY and 3-cent market all the time, I don't even think I need it. So, and when we first started, Joel, we lived and died by the futures. I mean, we had Ben Lichtenstein in the pit squawking it. You know, like Ben would, be getting a little excited. We'd be like, oh, what's happening here? You know, the markets have changed so much. Like we were so reliant when we started 1999 on the pit for the feel, for, what's happening, for the paper. I mean, the markets have just changed so much. And now, the markets have evolved. And with the rise of ETFs, more ETFs out there than stocks, if you're looking for a hedging vehicle, well, you got one. You've got all kinds of hedging vehicles out there. So you don't just need to rely just on futures anymore. There's, an ETF for everything. So, I mean, it's definitely impacting futures traders. And, we want to hear from you. If you are like, wow, what's happened here this morning? The market's not moving. Let us know. Or if you were more like me and just trading normal because you have a 4-cent market in SPY because, the USO is trading here, very liquid, gold, GLD liquid. I mean, everything is fairly liquid here this morning. Maybe it's the best day for it to happen because it's holiday trade and it was going to be quiet. But, I mean, ETFs help cushion the blow here.
Yeah, we talk positive, we talk negative. I'll tell you how I was affected. I, wake up in the middle of the night, like, grab my phone and I'm looking. I see the market at 68.35. I'm like, okay, we're up a little bit. I watched it a little bit on Thursday. We came down and tested the close, but rallied. And then, I woke up at 5:30 to start the day, and I'm like, wow, still 34 cents, still trading at 35 even. I'm like, this is going to be a really slow day. We are going to have nothing to talk about. And then I thought, okay, well, maybe it's this platform run. So I check another platform and then started, looking through my news. And sure enough, now I don't know if it's the best day if you're a futures trader and month-end options are expiring or you need to roll some contracts and things like that. So there's a little bit of chaos, but we did get some good news here from the CME that they're going to open at 8:30.
So they're getting it back open.
Yep. Okay. Global futures and option markets.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see if we start getting more movement at 8:30. I do think that a lot of days futures control price. And with futures down, the market's been very quiet here all morning. Like we've been kind of just hanging out. We've had a few moves in SPY, but it's kind of just been there and not moving a lot. So I do think with the lack of futures and a lot of traders maybe off the board here right now, one, holiday trade, they're off the board, but two, not being able to actually trade futures, that probably volatility is reduced. So let's see at 8:30 where it's kind of basically get a futures open here, and maybe we'll get some movement here. Brentster, come on in here. I don't think we have any 8:30 data today.
Hey, good morning. Let me double check. Let me double check right now. I was looking at next week already, and I failed to check today. Let me do that right now.
Now let's go check it
No,
out.
there's nothing. There's nothing.
There's nothing.
There's
They
nothing.
don't usually do that.
Nope, I do
Holiday
not
trade
see
like
anything.
this.
All right, everyone, get a good look at the Brentster here because we are not going to be seeing him for a couple weeks. Dennis, so we just take a couple weeks off if we don't have the Brentster here. You think people won't mind if we?
I think they'll mind actually. So the show must go on. We will try to survive without our main news guy, the head of our news desk, the guy who breaks all the news for us. So there's going to be some big shoes to fill because I'm putting you on that job, Joel.
Oh man, oh God.
So it's tough. 12 years of experience working the news desk, Brentster. Is that how long you were, full-time news desk?
That yeah.
Nobody.
I did the news desk
We'll
at
miss you for
Street
a couple
Insider
weeks,
too.
but
Yeah. I'll be back, folks. I'll be back on December 18th. I know it's.
We're gonna try to survive without you. He's going on vacation, so
I will miss you
Brentster.
guys.
Wait, since slow day and everything, Brentster, like, how did you get interested in the news and following stock news and stuff?
In following stock news, like back in the day?
Yeah.
You want to know?
Was it in like grade school?
Yeah.
Was it in elementary school?
It was in college. I started college at Western Michigan University, and I didn't know what I was gonna do with my life. I was like, oh, I'd like to be an engineer. That sounds cool. And then at Western, you have to have a math minor to be an engineer. So I'm like, well, I'm not doing that. I suck at math. And then I was like, oh, what are these stock things? And I got into something that certainly has a lot of math, but I started taking like econ and finance classes at Western, and my buddy and I, Jerry, shout out Jerry if you're out there listening, we would skip our econ and finance classes, and we would sit at my computer on Google Finance and try to figure out why stocks were moving. This was in like 2003. I was playing the game Why Stocks Are Moving.
Wow.
And
we still play that game.
We still
stop playing that game.
Isn't that funny? I know.
Yeah. That's our game. In the 3:30 to 5 show, that is our complete game. We're in there. Why is that moving? I'm asking you that. What's up? It's taking off. What's going on, Brent? What's going on, Brent?
I've literally been doing that for 23 years. And
why is that moving?
I started with Kramer. Kramer was my first educator, and he served me very well. So, we give Kramer's picks a tough time, but Kramer's education is fantastic.
Oh, he knows so much about the markets. I mean, like his knowledge base, even though, maybe makes a bad call now and then, his knowledge base is second to none. People call him the lightning round, and he knows all the fundies of all these companies. I mean, Joel knew technicals on them. When you get the main ones, we know them, but it'll be something out of the blue, some like little minor, like there's 6,000 stocks out there. He probably knows 5,800 of them. So, and if he gets stumped, he says it too. So unbelievable.
And then I just say kind of Brent too, like that, the evolution too. When we started working together back in the old office, and I was the biggest pain in the ass because I would, just the movement, the trained eye, and the spoons would, they'd move like 10 points or something, 10, 12, boom, boom. I'm Brent, what's up? And he'd be like, he'd go to
Sometimes I'd be like, oh crap, there is news, Joel, thanks. And then sometimes he'd be like, Joel, there's no news. Move on.
There's one guy, I don't know if he's still there. I won't mention his name, but I used to, when he took over the news desk, or you weren't there, I drove him absolutely crazy.
What's going on? What's
I think
traders all want to know.
I don't know if it was like a Slack message. He never said it to me personally, but I think he sent me a Slack message or something. And I'm like, anyways, and then so learn some stuff for Dennis, and well-rounded approach to the markets.
Yeah. Awesome. So anyways, we got Brent for the rest of the day though. So we don't have to he's here. He's working the news desk. He's got to break it if he sees news there. So don't worry. He's here working today.
And we're gonna do after hours session today, right, Dennis?
12:30
12:30
p.m.
It'll be
after
fun.
hours show. So you guys who subscribe to Stock Trader Network, 12:30 to 2. Well, we'll try to go to 2 o'clock. We're gonna try to do an hour and a half for you again. Trading the after hours on this short and holiday trade, and sometimes really good. So we'll be here. We'll be here for you guys.
One more thing I want to mention here, because Jay Rice just made a comment, and he said Joel and I are so old that we used is this the comment? Trading with graph paper and pencils for our charts. That's actually true. When I'm going back to my days at the CME, and I wish I could remember, but you would get this book, with all the different charts. And it was on light paper. What the heck? Maybe Jay will remember. But anyways, you would get the book. You could buy one every week, but then you would have to come home at the end of the day and have to get a ruler out.
I'm gonna
do high and low and close, and then draw your trend lines in. Actually, I was talking, my brother-in-law's in, and we were talking about charting and stuff, and I showed him some. Oh, Dennis, I knew he was looking for something. What do you got there?
I got those books. So these came, and this was before I was born. This was from 1973, and my neighbor, who was a big-time stock market guy, gave me all these books. He's passed away here now. Cyril was his name. I know Mike listens sometimes. Shout out to your dad there. But he gave me all these chart books, and he said when you get this once a week, these chart books, and he's like, it was like the holy grail. And you look in here, and they just have all these hand-drawn charts. Whoa. So they're just like this. So there's pages and pages of stocks. Well, you think back to 1973. You're trying to draw these charts yourself. So when you got this, he's like, this changed everything. We don't have to draw these charts anymore. So they were just there. Quote American, quote New York, it's different exchanges you could get. So it was quote books. And it's right there. This one's from 1973. This one was from 1975. Really cool, eh? So that's how they did it back in the day. And he said to me, he's like, you got this, you got these books. It was a huge edge over everyone else. People are trying to draw these charts. And he's like, you subscribe to this and you've got the charts. So technical analysis wasn't like just going on a computer and the chart's there and it's updating. He's like, you got this once a week. And he's like, this was like the holy grail right here. Pretty cool. Those are the books.
How's it affecting the CME stock today? Let's take a look.
CME is trading down with the futures being down here. It was down more earlier though. So we bounced back. Another dip buy opportunity.
Let's see.
So best day for it to happen. Holiday.
Yeah.
It was going to be light volume anyways. If this was going to happen, this was the best day for it to happen. As opposed to imagine it's like a tariff day and markets are going nuts. And, futures are not working. Everybody be going and pulling their hair out. I mean, SPY's not even moving. We're 3-cent market in SPY. So it was the best day for it to happen.
Okay. Let's talk about the double weekend trade.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. We have 2 weekends here. Pretty much. So it seems like, and we've had Ryan Dietrich give us some stats here, and I believe it is 13 out of the last 14 Mondays have opened higher. So just being long in the weekend just works. Well, I had Mike from the STN room messaging me. He's like, we got 2 weekend trades this week. He's like, because basically you had the close Wednesday and the reopen Friday. So he's like, bang, just be long stocks and they go up. It would have worked again. Are we going to be long stocks this weekend? Probably. It's just been working. Just being long stocks through the weekend is working well. Why is that? Why is it? Is it just, a short-term trend? I also believe it's because weekend trade is primarily driven by, in the absence of news. Trump says something, everything changes. But in the absence of news, primarily driven by retail traders. Retail traders are primarily long only. There is definitely some great retail traders that go short. But overall, Robinhood is just introducing short selling now. So the majority of traders are usually long only. And, if they're long only, they're coming in doing some trading, they're probably doing some buying. So I do think this is a pattern that is, alpha's extractable from, and we've been doing it, just being long every weekend, just flat out long stocks into weekends. Long stocks over this holiday trade work too, because hell, you're up here again this morning.
And just 15 minutes here till we open, but let's get to some of the stocks that are moving.
Yeah, lots of things moving here this morning, mostly retail names because we have Black Friday. So one stock we took long in the STN room over the weekend, it's not the weekend, but from Wednesday to Friday, was Amazon. I was like, usually Amazon is up on Black Friday. Show the charts, Joe, we'll bring them up. Amazon, obviously, up here this morning, so it works again. But they have been running these stocks, not so much Amazon, but check out the XRT from the last 3 days. They have been front running this Black Friday trade. I mean, again, some of this is market effects. We have nice bounce back in IWM, nice bounce back in SPY. So some of it's that too. But I mean, XRT was $78 4 trading days ago. It's 85. So that's a quiet little 10% move. I'll tell you, the S&P isn't up 10% a week, but the XRT is. So you can clearly see, one, value trade has helped, but two, Black Friday. So just being long stocks into events. We primarily on Stock Trader Network are catalyst traders. Black Friday is a catalyst. So now, we're past the catalyst. Now Black Friday has occurred, so that trade's probably over at this point in time. And, traders may be ringing the register now on some of those retail trades. But, your traditional retail has been very strong here in the past week. XRT shows that.
And who was the catalyst, in my opinion? Kohl's.
That helped. And Abercrombie and Fitch, both of those. Urban Outfitters, although Urban gave some of it back. But I mean, we were just talking about, stocks with low PEs, and low PEs are cool again here, folks. The market has changed. It will change again. Stay tuned, because, our trading strategies keep evolving, obviously, and change daily. But right now, low PE stocks are in favor.
Yeah.
And a lot of these retailers have very low PEs. Abercrombie and Fitch trading now 9 times earnings, but it was trading 7 times earnings a week ago when it was $70. I mean, Kohl's a little bit higher, but Kohl's, has had its own struggles. But don't call it a comeback. But I mean, this Kohl's is $24. This stock was 15 3 days ago. I mean, this is a huge move. Now, would I be buying it here? No. You got to wait for a pullback on these things. But it's just showing you the theme that low PE is cool again.
Yeah, finally. Actually, this is sneakily had, and I'm looking at the bottom right chart here. If you're looking at your different time frames, I mean, it had that one short squeeze day. Remember when it got up over 20? And but look at the monthly candles here. We are up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months. Does it feel that it's been a 7-month rally in Kohl's since it hit 604?
$6.
No,
$6.
It doesn't feel that way.
$6.
604. It's 604.
When it was over, when like everything was going in April, when everything was going.
That's wild.
Wow, that's a crazy move. Stocks up. That's a four banger. Wow, huge moves. And I mean, this is just this market. Like, obviously, we can talk about how much AI has driven the bus, but I tell you, in the last few weeks, it's not AI driving the bus anymore. It's value. Value is driving the bus. I mean, don't look any further than Berkshire Hathaway, Berk.B. I mean, the comeback is there. October 475, 511. Value is driving the bus here now. Does it continue, or do we go back to the NVIDIAs, the AMDs? I don't know, but I'll tell you right now, value is driving the bus.
Retail. XRT. I mean, still way off the high for the year, which is interesting. So we can keep on that. Looking at the monthlies and trading up today 22 cents. What do we got? We got 11 minutes to the opening of the markets here.
I'm getting the Burry tweets too. This guy is going bananas here. Since NVIDIA had its fall the other day, he's like just been reignited here, like going crazy. So he's got his like Substack here now. He was pumping Lululemon over the weekend and a couple other names here. But Burry is like, even though he says he didn't understand this market a week and a half ago, now he fully understands this market. Just substacking like a crazy fool, because he is just going, not saying he's a fool, but just saying that he is like going nuts here with tweets lately. I can't even follow it anymore. He's tweeting a lot. He went from like not tweeting at all for years, I feel like, to like now tweeting up a storm. So he's been reignited with the recent fall in some of these tech names and some of these Momo names, you know, like Palantirs and Nvidia. So he's been reignited saying, this is my market. I'm going to be, you know what, though? It's probably just dips to buy. So sorry, Michael Burry. I don't know if I believe this is the end of Nvidia and the end of Palantir and the end of all these names. I don't know what he's substacking here now. He's substacked more here this morning, but he does move price, though, so you have to respect him. You know, when he says stocks, you know, they do move. When he takes new positions, they do move.
Yeah, but but he closed his hedge fund, right?
As far as we heard, yeah. Well, so actually, no, we don't know that. We know that he deregistered his fund from the SEC. I don't know that that means that you just remove your fund from existence. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. We actually don't know, I think.
I wonder if he listens to pre-market prep. But let's talk about that move from Nvidia on Friday, right?
Comeback. It was a huge comeback in a lot of these things.
Friday.
AMD,
Why do I say Friday?
I know. I'm going to keep saying Friday too, and I went and I didn't even like catch it. You know,
because it feels like a
Monday.
weekend.
It feels like Monday.
Yeah.
But I mean, huge bounce back in AMD. Like, let's just start right there. AMD on Tuesday, we'll get the days right here, Joel, hit 194, and now it's 216. I mean, these are big pops. NVIDIA, same story, hit 169 up to 182 or whatever the other day. Oracle bounced back huge. Oracle is under pressure here this morning. We still have not figured out why. There was a Wednesday night seller that would just not let off, and there's a seller here this morning that will just not let off. So Oracle's down 5. I never did see the news for Oracle, but they are just continuing to hammer this. But it had a huge bounce back too, 185 to 210. So, I mean, you could say on the big scheme of things, doesn't look huge, but 185 to 210, that's a 25-point move on $185 stock. It's a 14% pop in 2 days. So there was nice snapbacks here. So what does that mean going forward? Is the bottom in on all these names? Nobody's got a crystal ball. Nobody knows anything here. So, you know, maybe Michael Burry thinks he's got a crystal ball. Nobody knows. Again, nobody knows anything. We just trade price. So now, you know, we've got bounces and we can see bulls are somewhat back in control on certain stocks. Oracle remains ugly. I mean, it's down another $5 here today. Somebody absolutely just selling Oracle hand over fist on Wednesday, selling it again here. I don't know when the Oracle story turns, if it ever turns. Maybe it's over. Maybe they're spending too much on AI. Maybe Google's going to take them all out. Who knows? All kinds of other things to talk about too. But right now, Oracle's under pressure. Joel, you're on mute.
Oh, can I unmute him?
Joel's still on mute.
I know.
There he is. There he is.
I don't want to cough on you guys. I don't want to get you
thank
guys. You know,
I'm telling you, I have the eternal cough now. So I'm feeling a little bit better, but the cough is not going to go away. So I think I've just learned to live with it now. So maybe it's for here forever. Like, remember with the other one, like last year, we had the 100-day cough. That's what I'm into now. I'm on like day 20. So my boy he got it before me. He's still coughing upstairs, even though he feels fine. The 100-day COVID cough just stays.
That's awful.
Just get used to coughing. Thank you, COVID.
We got this. Looking at this, we are below the 50-day, right? We're below the 50-day. So I guess, you know, following basic technical analysis, 50 days is going to be resistance. The only reason I'm not going to put like a huge emphasis on it, because I remember Walmart after earnings, and I'm like, well, it's below the 50-day, and that's going to be resistance. Boom, Walmart took off. But once again, catalyst, right? Earnings, retail sector. Oh, just bringing up the Walmart chart here just real quickly, folks. We're at a huge area. All-time high, 109.56 on Wednesday. You hit 109.59 and you posted that all-time closing high. I don't know if you got someone perched there at like scaling up to 110, because we've never been in this area, but just take notice here that you're approaching a double top. Could be a triple top. It could just be another breakout in Walmart. But for NVIDIA, I do have a good level for you. NVIDIA,
I think it's a double top. I'd stop you at Walmart right there. I'd sell Walmart. It's getting ridiculous. Like, let's just stop and have a rant on Walmart here.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's one of the best retailers. But are they trying to take it to a Costco multiple? Is that really what they're trying to do here? I can remember Walmart trading 45 times earnings in the tech bubble. And that was like ridiculous, but everything was ridiculous back then. And then it went in a 12-year bear market. I think that's what Walmart's setting up to do. It's 35, 38 times earnings current now, 35 times forward earnings. I mean, it's a freaking retailer. So Costco has always commanded a higher multiple, but Walmart's getting to a point because Costco has come down. At a certain point in time, Walmart can end up passing Costco on a PE multiple. Like, I mean, it's not close yet because Costco's 45 times, Walmart's 38. But these, at one time, Walmart was like 14, 15, 16 times earnings. This is fully valued, folks. Like, fully valued. This isn't like some AI company that's going to change the world. Yes, Walmart is a staple. Yes, they give more premium to staples, but a lot of other staples trade in the 20s. I think Walmart at 38 times earnings is just too expensive.
All right. Well, you use the resistance for now. We all know in this market, you know,
and stocks can go higher.
Yep, it did.
They can keep going. You know, maybe it's just breaking out and going to go higher here too. But if you're a fundamental investor, if those exist anymore,
what's that?
Well, it's starting to become cool again. I just think Walmart's fully valued. We've also had the run here for Black Friday with other retailers here too. I have lots of excuses to ring the register in Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, if you look
at where I'm at,
the Costco chart, boom, look at that. Boy, that doesn't look good at all. Look at all the lower monthly lows. I'll tell you, I was out there a couple times last week. I loaded up. They're still busy.
Awesome.
Those parking lots are packed.
And you go in there, Joel, and I didn't have a Costco membership for a while. I canceled it during COVID, but then I re-got it. And you go in there and you're just like, it feels like you actually still get value in there. Like, I know you spend a lot of money, but when you buy in bulk like that, it's like I go buy a Listerine. You know, I use Listerine. You get the 2-pack for like $12, and it's like one of those at Walmart. It's like $9.
Yeah.
So I'm literally getting like one for like 50% off. So, I mean, I think Costco is just the best retailer. You know, like you can say Walmart, Amazon, but Costco just pound for pound. If anybody deserves a 40 multiple, it is that company. Like, those stores are just packed everywhere. So like I just look and think Walmart's come up to 38 times, Costco's come down to 44 times or something like that. I mean, at a certain point in time, Costco long, Walmart short, you know, maybe that's a play, because I'll tell you, Costco is just the best pound for pound retailer out there. They are awesome. They need more stores. They need like more expansion. Like, you know, because you got to go places like quite a ways. Like, maybe that's their issue, is that, you know, they only have like 1 or 2 stores, you know, per, like, I think it's like 1 store, it seems like per 100,000 people. I mean, maybe they could do 1 per 50, you know, and just start expanding. Like, because I think they lose sales just because we got to travel like 45 minutes to get one where we are. So if they were closer, you know, maybe that's an opportunity here. Walmart's in town, Costco, you got to go 45 minutes. So I don't know. I love Costco.
Boy, it's I'm trying to look and see what do we want to go into our earnings previews yet, or do we want to wait for the opening, the real opening of the market here? In my guesstimation, the SPOOs should open up around 68.55. That's my guess.
It's gonna be right where the futures go, so or right where the SPY is.
Yeah,
we're gonna see. I think we're gonna get more. This is a good test. I think we're gonna get some more volatility when the futures are.
Of course, yeah.
So we're gonna see some pickup in action here. So that's one thing, is with the futures being down, I do think we saw some muted trading here this morning. So it's muted. It's holiday trade. It was going to be like that, but let's give the benefit of the doubt for the next minute. I think that we're going to see a little pickup in action here in a minute.
In 50 seconds.
In 50 seconds. And the correlation changes like over the years and stuff. It used to be 1 SPY point was like 7 or 8 S&P points, and now it's more almost like 10, right? 1 SPY point, 10 S&P points. But right now this would be a good test, because I have the SPY trading up $2.02, and I believe that, let's go to the SPY chart here.
I think we're gonna see movement.
We are. Well, you know what? I could tell you where we're gonna open. We are gonna open right at Friday's high. If you were Friday, Wednesday's high.
Wherever SPY is.
Yeah, because 81.70. We are going to open up at 68, 42 for a little bit lower. Now
Here we go.
the SPY came in
8:30.
a little bit. Did you see that? I thought it was
Yeah.
going to open up at Friday's high, and the SPY came in a little bit. So let's see what happens. Right at Friday's high.
Futures
That's
are
interesting.
open. Buy market's back to normal, even they were normal.
Oh, Joel, will you pull up the futures on your
Oh,
chart?
sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
let
you're
me
fine.
get
No, you're
it
fine.
there.
And just a couple quick updates here. I'm seeing CME respond. CME says support is working to resolve the issue in the near term and will continue to provide updates. So although futures are open here, it seems that the CME still is having an issue. CME said Forex spot plus market will remain halted.
Okay.
You know what? It's trading kind of different. It is. I wonder if
Futures.
yeah, they're like,
Why? How do you feel?
I mean, it's at 40.5 right now, 40 and a quarter. I mean, it always bounces around and stuff, but it just like I've seen like straight print, like all of a sudden it will print 42 and then get right back down to 40. So people are adjusting. They got to be adjusting. I'm just surprised with the spider trading at yesterday's high, and there was about a 40-cent dip in the spider right before 8:30. And then the S&Ps came up shy of
Oh yeah,
Friday's
SPY will
high.
just track to where the futures are immediately. So SPY's guessing off the stocks, a little bit of guessing, and now we're coming in. So futures definitely. We thought we'd get a little more action. We're getting some more action. SPY is wide. The futures ARB and mechanism is like they're hesitant on this. So I don't know if the futures, but SPY is usually trading within 3 or 4 cents, and that is not the case here this morning.
Really? What's it right now? It's
yeah, we're 40 cents wide on SPY. So they are like not confident in the futures right now, or they would be tighter.
Like it
It'll
just
tighten up.
It just ticked
Tightening
like
up now.
37.5 and then 39.5 back. I mean, it's just I don't know. I just don't I'll get a better feel for it. But I think that you know what's one thing, and I was reading about this with the CME, like they do a pre-open. So it like a half hour before people were like submitting orders. So the big boys that were selling like I'm selling a ton of futures on this reopen, we're probably trading the SPY fight like that correspondingly. But we're up 11. Everything's back to normal again here. The stocks are continuing to trade, and we'll see. I mean, it's going to be a quiet day, right? In just based on historical precedents, this has always been a quiet day. So we're standing by for Louis Sykes from Homie Charts, and
it's middle of the night there. So, well, hopefully he's up trading all night anyways.
Yeah,
Louis
we'll see.
Like
well, it'll be interesting to see what he says. How if he watches the Bitcoin futures at all. I don't. You know what? I don't think the Bitcoin futures are open.
I don't know if they matter.
They're not.
Bring him in. Go around. He's here right now. Let's bring him in and ask him.
Okay.
1 sec. Sorry.
Okay. Louis Sykes, senior crypto analyst for All Star Charts. What should I say? Is it good evening to you?
It's currently 2:30 in the morning here in New Zealand. It's a thrill to be joining you guys, like usual.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. So, how's the market going to do today?
Look, it's messy out there in the crypto land. Bitcoin still trending lower. We've got this nice little bounce, but looking out, zooming out, I want to see a little bit more setup develop to really build on this bullish momentum we've seen over these last few days.
Okay, well, we'll get that in a second. I just want to, Todd, did you follow the Bitcoin futures market at all at the CME?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm not a day trader. My time frame's a little bit longer than you guys, but absolutely, there's a ton of great information that we can get from looking at that market.
Okay, so to me, it looks like they're still down. the Bitcoin futures. With the CME problem, did that have any kind of material impact on the Bitcoin, or is just the cash market, all the ETFs and stuff? You probably hardly noticed.
No, I mean, it's just noise. It's just day-to-day noise. And again, my time frame's a little bit longer. I like to make money in the meat of these trends rather than taking advantage of these shorter term moves. And we've had this really nice momentum over these last few days, and so what I'd like to see is just for price just to coil over these next few weeks and to really build a nice little base to work higher off.
Why don't you share your charts and talk about the decline and talk about what would make, what you would think. I know our buddy Jeremy Newsom put out last week at 100-day EMA. You got to look at it. You got to buy. Pull up your charts here and tell us what would be considered constructive price action here in Bitcoin trading under 100K.
Yeah, look, I look at a chart like this and I like to keep it nice and simple, right? Crypto is really complex, and we can talk a little bit about some of the work that we're doing a little bit later on why it's so complex. But I just like to keep things simple. No real indicators. I'm just looking at behavior, looking at trends. And what I can see here is this thing just looks like an absolute mess. You can try to whack on some sort of indicator or oscillator to try to make this thing look good. But if you just strip away all the noise and you look at it for what it really is, this thing is just an absolute mess, and there's no edge for me right now and wanting to try to pick a bottom or try to trade this. We're trading in the middle of no man's land. We had a conversation 2 weeks ago and again, it was just the same theme where there's just not a whole lot to do. And so what I want to see is I want to see two things happen. I either want to see Bitcoin just put in a little bit of a coil here, just move sideways for a few weeks, and then we've got a level, we've got a setup that we can trade. Or if we get continued weakness, I think defining risk, if we get weakness back down to 77, 75, which are these former lows right around here, I think that's a really good place to think about defining some risk to get back into this market.
So what do you think the catalysts have been for the decline?
Yeah, so it all really started in October the 10th. And so on October the 10th, we saw the largest crypto crash of all time. And if you're looking at a Bitcoin chart, you won't really see it. But for the entire crypto economy, it was actually the largest crash that we've ever seen of all time, where, I mean, a lot of these cryptocurrencies literally plunged 80 or 90% in the space of a few hours on some of these exchanges. And so what we're likely seeing is some big players likely just getting out of the market in response to that, where we saw a whole bunch of liquidations, or in other words, margin calls, right? And if there's a big player that was liquidated, and they were using Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency as collateral, if they're liquidated, then they need to, get rid of that position. They need to sell it over time. And so it's really interesting, right? Where stocks basically at all-time highs. We've seen a little bit of the air coming out of these speculative growth stocks like ARK, for instance, the ARK ETF. But then Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies have really been the one standout. They've been the ones that have got hit the hardest. And I think a lot of that is really just independent to what's happening in the crypto market itself. I think there's probably some large player that we don't know of yet who's just getting rid of these positions. And we can already see that because, look, in crypto, all of these transactions are transparent. So there's a public ledger, so we can track and categorize all of these transactions. And we can actually prove these stories because they're not just stories. We can actually show them with math. And when you look on chain, on the blockchain, the largest wallets are the ones who have actually been behind this recent selling.
Do you feel like it's like a generational? I mean, we've seen the high for 6 months, a year, 2 years, all-time high. Where are you putting this? I mean, of course you can judge it as the price action goes forward, but what would you say to the guy on the street that said, "Yeah, that this is it, all-time high is in Bitcoin. The story's over"? What would you say to that person?
Yeah, I think, I've been doing a whole bunch of work just trying to understand the crypto economy, and there's a really, if you look at the stock market, right, the traditional market that we're all familiar with, there's 11 key sectors. There's industrials and technology, and you can easily understand it. If someone says, hey, I own a technology company, you understand what that company does. But then in crypto, it's a little bit loosely defined. And so I've really just, over this last few months, just going through the list one by one, looking at all of these individual cryptocurrencies. And what I can say is that a lot of them are worthless. It's what we suspected, that a lot of these random cryptocurrencies, they don't really have any real value, any real fundamentals. But then there's these few gems out there. And I think that 99% of these things are worthless, but the 1% is going to end up redefining the next generation of finance and technology. And so you have a look at all of this institutional money that's coming into this space. You have a look at what's happening, for instance, where a lot of these big Wall Street firms are wanting to take traditional assets like bonds, gold, the dollar onto the blockchain to make sure that it's able to be traded 24/7. You have a look at what's happening with stable coins as well, where it's basically removing all the friction from our day-to-day payments. And you have a look at all of these really interesting developments happening underneath the surface. And while yes, the market has really just corrected over these last few months and a lot of the errors come out, I think when you look at those developments, I think it totally makes sense that we ultimately see Bitcoin again break to all-time highs into next year.
Yeah, you expand on that a little bit. You're creating a taxonomy / sectors for the crypto economy. So how many are you up to?
Yeah, so look, coming back to the previous definitions, right, where we have these 11 sectors in the traditional economy and the stock market. What we're coming to is we've got about a handful of sectors in the crypto economy. We've got stuff like networks and decentralized finance and infrastructure and applications. That I feel like the crypto industry has done a really terrible job of educating people what all of these cryptocurrencies do, because think about it this way, right? If you've got a listed stock on the stock exchange, they need to go through a whole lot of compliance and regulation, and they need to have real employees, and they need to have audits. But in the crypto land, anyone can just launch a cryptocurrency. And so the end result is that literally everybody does launch a cryptocurrency. And so I've gone through all of these, literally, I'm not joking, like 400 cryptocurrencies, reading their white papers and their developers' notes. Like, nobody reads this stuff, right? Like, it's been driving me crazy. And 99% of these are just absolute junk. But then you come across a handful that are genuinely just, they prick your ears up when you read their white paper and you understand all the money that is flowing into these things. And so there's this big mountain of turds, but then within that mountain, let me tell you, there are some genuine gems to be found.
What about Farcoin?
I mean, that's a great example, right? Great example of a turd.
Could you give us some other examples of the ones that are falling into that, viable currency?
Yeah, of course. And so you've got obviously Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. These are all of the largest tokens that most people are going to be familiar with, because think about it this way. There's only really one payment network in the world where all these banks communicate, right? It's the SWIFT system. Now, in crypto, there's about 25 different payment networks. It's like, well, do we need 25 payment networks just for crypto? Probably not, right? We probably only need one, maybe two. So you're going to have a really small number. So something like Bitcoin for payments, Ethereum is like a programmable form of money. Solana is almost a faster alternative to Ethereum. And then you've also got new competitors like, for instance, Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid is one that a lot of people are talking about, where it's a new form of exchange. And so, we can go down the list, but there are really just a large number of these really interesting new technologies that are coming forward.
I was going to mention the SWIFT system, and I was going to mention the payment system. And to me, the biggest impediment to like Bitcoin being, people talk about 200,000, 300, all these levels is the settlement. Like, let's say I was going to pay you for coming on the show today. Okay. I mean, this instrument could move 2, 3, 4, 5, 6%. I mean, how can people? I mean, where are we at in the progression of using this as a transactional currency? I mean, I know you own these things. How do you pay your bills in Bitcoin? Do you transact? Do you carry do you carry your wallet when you go to the grocery store and pay for things? How far away are we from using it as a viable transaction currency?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, right? Because if I go to my mum or my dad and I try to set up a Bitcoin wallet for them, they'll be like, Louis, this is just too complicated. This is inconvenient. I'm never going to use this, right? And so I think about that, it was almost, it's a little bit inconvenient by its nature because it's a store of value. It's not something you're supposed to touch and use every day. But what we can do is we can use the technology that Bitcoin runs on, and we can put stable coins through that. And so the biggest stable coin, or the most prominent one that's coming to the market, is Circle. And so it's issued by the company Circle, ticker symbol CRCL, Circle. And so that company is issuing a stable coin that basically runs on similar technology to Bitcoin, where I find it really annoying, where I go to tap my card if I want to go pay for groceries or anything at the store, and there's that pesky surcharge that MasterCard or Visa charges at the till, right? But then with stablecoins, you don't really have that because the technology is so much more efficient. You don't really have any sort of middleman. It's just money flowing directly through the rails of the same technology as Bitcoin. And so these stable coins are of major interest to big financial institutions, and that's one of the areas that you're seeing the most amount of interest right now is stable coins. And so I think that one's going to continue popping up in the coming years.
Before we let you go, I want to ask you about the ETFs. We were just asked about BMNR. I don't know if you follow that or if you want to comment on that at all. But talk about the ETF price action and how that really allowed people that, like your parents, or that didn't want to get into it. Right? Hey, I know Dennis uses an ETF in Canada for his Bitcoin. First of all, any comments on BMNR or just general comments about I don't know how many Bitcoin ETFs we have now?
Yeah, so when it comes to Bitmine Immersion, it's one of these digital asset treasuries where it's one of these companies that doesn't really do anything but just holds a whole bunch of cryptocurrencies. I personally think that 99% of these digital asset treasuries are just grifts. So in other words, I think it's more opportunism rather than people adding value. I think it's more extracting value than adding value to the crypto economy. And the reason why I say that is because why do you need a digital asset treasury? Why would I want to own Bitmine or MicroStrategy over just Bitcoin and Ethereum itself? It's just adding a whole bunch of new speculation to something where I can already own it through like an ETF, like you mentioned. And so when it comes to the ETFs, I think that a lot of the people that were really early on in the Bitcoin era, where they saw it as this rebellion against Wall Street and this rebellion against banking, and so they bought Bitcoin, they were right because they made a whole lot of money if they got into Bitcoin early. But they were right for the wrong reasons, because what we're seeing now is we're seeing more. It's objectively a better thing if more people have access to a market, right? And so I think with more regulation, more oversight, more compliance, having these big banks and financial institutions in behind this market is fantastic, because you're only going to go so far if you're just trying to be this big rebellion against the banking system. And so the fact now you can just go into your basic brokerage account and you can buy Bitcoin, you can buy Ethereum through these ETFs. I think that's fantastic, because people aren't going to be setting up crypto wallets. It's just really inconvenient. Even me, as someone who's really deeply in the space, I was doing a whole bunch of work on my wallet today, actually. And even I was like, man, this is actually a little bit inconvenient. And so I think it's great that these big financial institutions are coming in and making it a market that's more accessible to everybody.
You over the course of the time you've been on the show, you talked about MSTR and falling in that category here. What a fall from grace here, and even with a little bit of a response here. still in the same category with the net asset value and how it's inflated from the true Bitcoin price?
Yeah, so this is really interesting because you mentioned BMNR, so you mentioned Bitmine Immersion, and so MicroStrategy is a Bitcoin holding company. Bitmine is a Ethereum holding company. Now, there's a big fundamental difference between the two, right? Because Ethereum is income producing, Bitcoin is not income producing. And so Bitmine can take the Ethereum that they have and they can stake it. So in other words, they can get a yield on their Ethereum. MicroStrategy can't do that with their Bitcoin. And so that's a really big difference because MicroStrategy has dividend mandates, right? They're required to pay dividends, and those dividends are just continuing to accumulate over time. But it's a big risk to MicroStrategy, right? Because they're basically just betting that the future value or the future rise in value of Bitcoin is just going to cover their dividends. But with something like Bitmine, they don't necessarily need to do that because their dividends are already covered by the yield that they can generate on their Ethereum. And so I think when it comes to MicroStrategy, I think it's particularly quite risky. And the market is already seeing that right now, right? Because MicroStrategy used to trade at a big premium relative to their Bitcoin holdings. And so back in November of 2024, MicroStrategy was trading at 3.5 times what their Bitcoin holdings were actually worth. So if Bitcoin was trading at 100,000, if you were buying MicroStrategy around that time, you're basically paying about $350,000 per Bitcoin by buying the stock. But then a special event happened in November of 2024, and IBIT, the BlackRock ETF, it launched options. And since that day, the premium that MicroStrategy has traded at relative to its Bitcoin holdings has just continued to compress and compress, and now it is actually trading at basically its net asset value today. And so there's a whole bunch of air that is coming out of this trade. And again, I just asked the same question: why would I want to own something like MicroStrategy versus just holding Bitcoin itself?
Do you follow the stock Bullish at all? BLSH. It was
that one is on my radar.
Okay.
But I haven't looked into it too much compared to these
I mean,
digital
because they're
assets.
like the institution, for they're gonna be the bank or the way for institutions, and it had its IPO. What I thought was interesting about this one is that it had that wild action, and then it actually came down to where Wall Street priced it, and originally at the 33 to 36 area. And it actually came down right in between there, 34.24. One more sports-related question.
Mm-hmm.
And it's coming from Jay Rice. So if it's not a good question, it's not my fault. Do you think NZR will sack Razor?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so.
Okay. Those are rugby teams, right?
Yep, yeah, exactly. I mean, the All Blacks, it's a former national pride over here. I mean, the All Blacks are probably the best and most successful sports team of all time across all countries. That's how much rugby is of pride here.
Okay, that came from Gabe Fabe. So, you know what? Thank you so much. It's always good to get a different perspective on Bitcoin. You do your homework, and that's what's important. So, Louis Sykes, Homie Charts, follow him on Twitter. Great, Louis. We'll be dialing you up again in a couple weeks.
Cheers, mate. You have a good weekend.
All right. Triple D, did you get these markets back in line yet? Or are you still banging away?
Yeah, no, the hair is all crazy here because futures are open and the markets are wild now, and I can't control it. No, actually, futures brought it in a little bit. It's just kind of the same. Like we did notice the futures open, but there really hasn't been much. I mean, it's kind of an everything rally today. Like just trying to lay what's going on today. You do see some retailers like Amazon, Shopify, a little bit stronger, but overall, we just kind of got a little bit of an everything rally going on here. The only stock really standing out to the downside is Oracle, which is down under $6 and just cannot catch a bid. So that stock's just been ugly for a while. But really, mostly green across the board. Airlines are strong. The value trade is strong. Banks are trading higher. Tech is very strong here this morning. it's kind of a buy across the board market. And again, we get into this holiday trade, Joel, and we close at 1 o'clock, we close early. Do you think sometimes this can go either way? Sometimes because there's less players out there, there's less liquidity, and if we get any type of news or something like that, the markets can really move. And then other days, you come in these half days and they're nothing burgers where there's just no movement at all. Where do you think we're heading today? Is this a movement day or a no movement day?
I mean, there's something always moving.
You can always find something moving, and there's a point.
Yeah, you could always find something.
Oracle's the one moving to the downside today.
Yeah, I think I predicated on the price action that we get now from 9:30 until the markets actually, close, and then when things shut. Are you talking about when things shut down 1, or are you talking about just today's session?
Well, after 1, it starts to become just like an after-hour session. You usually get a little bit of action just after 1 o'clock. By 2 o'clock, it's usually pretty dead. But I'm just wondering, even the intraday.
I'm just respecting.
9:30 to
1. Yeah. In my mind, and I'm getting my grips on this, in my mind, the S&Ps, even though it's not reflected in the high of 44.50, I think they hit Friday's high. I think they exceeded Friday's high. I think we're probably, if the SPOOs are open, it would have made a new high from Friday. So I think we pull back a little bit, maybe I'm going to have to use the SPY. I'm going to have to go to the SPY chart. I'm going to have to look at the action from the pre-market, and that's what I'm going to use. So it's still 682. That's a big level. I don't know what these spikes were overnight, but before Brent goes, he's going to set us up with some stuff to look forward to next week.
Yes, sir. I have a little econ preview set up. I do want to say thank you to our wonderful sponsor first. Hive Digital Technology is a global leader in grid-powered data centers for Bitcoin mining, high-performance computing, and AI. Hive, operating with nearly 0.5 gigawatt of renewable energy, company on track to capture 3% of the world's Bitcoin production by the end of this year. They should be approaching that threshold here in the next couple weeks. There is a QR code in the bottom right corner of your screen. Scan that to go over to Hive's website. You can learn a little bit more about Hive. There's also a link in the description of this YouTube video. Joel has the Hive chart on screen right now if anyone wants to take a little gander. If not, I will get us over to at least our econ preview for next week. Why not? While we're at it, we do have a few notable data points coming up next week, so I want to just get that on everyone's radar. Monday next week, we're going to be getting manufacturing data out of S&P and ISM. We're also going to be getting construction spending on Tuesday. We're going to be getting JOLTS job openings. Wednesday, we're going to be getting the ADP employment report. We're also going to be getting import-export prices, industrial production, and then the S&P and ISM non-manufacturing index. Thursday, we're going to be getting the weekly jobless claims, and Friday next week, PCE price index at 8:30 a.m. And then at 10 a.m., I believe it is, we're going to be getting the University of Michigan consumer sentiment. Joel, what were you going to say?
No, you said University of Michigan sentiment. So
Oh, you just
for 1 hour. For
that.
1 hour, I didn't think about the Michigan-Ohio State game. So, and then you had to.
And then I'm sorry, Joel.
Okay, all right.
Next week also, lots of earnings on the docket. I know we feel like we're out of earnings season, but there are some big names. Monday, MongoDB. Tuesday, CrowdStrike, Okta, Marvell, AEO. Wednesday, it's like Cloud Day. Salesforce.com, Snowflake, UiPath. We got Five Below, GameStop reporting. AI. Thursday, DocuSign, RBRK, Ulta, Dollar General. So we got some big names reporting next week. So, despite, getting towards the end of earnings season, there always seems to be some earnings things to trade. So we'll probably be doing some pre-earnings runs on some of these names here through the weekend, getting ready for next week. We'll obviously miss the Brentster, but the show must go on. We will have Joel working the news desk. Let's see if he can keep up with the Brentster.
It might turn into the snooze desk instead of the news desk.
I like that.
Desk. No, it's the snooze desk with Joel.
We also, just to get it on the radar, we also are expecting Oracle earnings the second week of December. The company has not confirmed the earnings date yet, but normally it's the second week of December.
Okay.
Yep.
So, and they're always one that ends earnings season pretty much.
Kind of, yeah. Yep. Airlines and financials kind of kicking off the earnings season. Oracle, retail kind of ending the earnings season.
We never covered it. TMC, did you see the move this thing did when we were talking about this on Wednesday night? And this stock went absolutely berserk. It went from $5.83 to up over $8. So if you want to just show the chart here, I'll bring the charts onto the screen. It has pulled in, but look at this move. So we were reaching and trying to find news, and there was a headline there. I know my friend David Prince at T3 hunted it down eventually there. And I can just tell you that news just in a second here, going to my tweets. You should have been a little bit. Hang on. The TMC news was the CFO did an interview and was talking about they feel good. They have a string of positive news coming. Yeah. So CFO commentary from an interview was happening on Friday night. But I mean, the algos just went berserk, and maybe it's because this was Wednesday night, but maybe it was because, there wasn't much trading or whatever, but they took this thing from $6 to $8. That's up over 40%. It's given a lot of it back. Well, that was a crazy move.
Yeah, I just want to add on Monday, we're going to have Mark Chaikin on the show. Mark's going to come over and give his comments. Very consistent, being bullish this market. He has a lot of stocks he still likes, still sees some room on the upside. So we'll talk to Mark on Monday. Joel Kalina to be joining us on Tuesday. So there we go, folks. That's going to wrap here on this Friday. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving, and back with you guys Monday morning.